everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Now today we're not even going to be crocheting, we're going to be finger knitting. We're going to be using this brand new yarn from Red Heart. It's called Loop It Finger Looping Fun. Now it's made out of 100% polyester, so you can toss it in the washer in the dryer if you want to. It has 3.5 ounces, which is 7.6 yards on each ball. And it's really a fun and interesting yarn. The yarn is basically a bunch of loops. I'm going to be making a dog mat for my dogs to lay on the couch, and that pattern will be on my blog, and you can find that link down in the notes underneath this video. I'm going to be making a mat, and you're going to need 2 balls of the Loop It yarn to make a mat that size. But I will tell you how to make it bigger or smaller when we get started. The colors I'm using is called gray, and this pink that's called In the Pink. Now you don't need anything else. You don't need a hook. You don't need any knitting needles. You're just going to use your fingers. And the only other thing that you're going to need is a pair of scissors. The first thing you need to do is just to slide off the cover, because the ball doesn't pull from the center. You're going to need to pull from the outside of your ball. And I'm starting with my color 1. And the way you begin is deciding how big you want it. Pull this up here. And basically each loop is an inch. So you can decide how wide you want it, and you'll put that many loops plus 1. I'm going to make mine 28 inches wide, and so I'm going to do 28 loops. But for the demonstration, I'm only going to do about 10 or 12 so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. The first thing you need to do is to unhook the first loop, and I'm just going to gently put my scissors through there and open that up. I didn't cut it, I just slid it through. And you'll need this when you finish to weave in the end. All right, then you'll need to lay your loops out flat like this and decide how many loops across you want. Now, if you're going to make a bigger dog mat than I am, you're going to need more balls of yarn. All right, so I've got my loops all laid out. And again, I'm not doing the big one right now. I'm just going to demonstrate how to make the mat. Now, for the demonstration, I'm only doing 12 loops. All right. Now, once you've got your 12 or however many loops, 28 if you're doing the dog mat, you're going to take your yarn and lay it back here, and you're going to take the first loop on the next row and pull it through the first loop just like that, and be very careful not to skip any. We're going to take the back loop and pull it through the front loop. And when you're first starting, just take your time. Make sure those loops are going to stay in there. Back loop, pull it through the front loop. Back loop, pull it through the front loop. We'll do this all the way across. Make sure you don't skip any loops. And this yarn is so soft. I just love it. All right, so now I'm on my last loop. There we go. Now make sure I didn't skip one. And then what I do is I just kind of go through, make sure all my loops are pulled up. And there's your first row of finger knitted loops. Okay, so let's do the next row. Our yarn is on this side, so we're going to be starting over here and coming across this way. So here's my first loop. We're going to take the first loop on our yarn and pull it through from the back. Next loop. And I really recommend when you're doing this not to do this in your lap until you're completely comfortable with how it works. Working it on a solid surface like this table, it just really, to me, makes it a lot easier. Now, make sure you get every loop here and every loop on your yarn, because if you skip one, you're going to have to take it out and fix it. And this yarn, I'll have to be honest with you, is really difficult to frog. And frogging is just rip it out when we make a mistake. So take your time, go slow, get every loop you can that's across on your project and on your working yarn. All right, there's my last loop. And then I'll go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 and pull those forward. So there's now 2 rows of finger knit. So now we want to stripe it and bring in another color. We're going to leave this attached where we have our gray attached, our first color. And we're going to go ahead and bring in our pink. But before we do that, we're going to undo the first loop. That way, again, we have something to tie in with. All right, we'll lay our first row across. We'll start with our first one here and just bring that pink yarn in. Now we're leaving our gray attached. And we're bringing our pink or our second color in. Doing the same thing, bringing our loops up from the back through the front loop. Making sure to be careful that we don't skip any loops. And I really like working at this direction because I've got my hand on my project and I'm sort of flattening it out as I go across. Finding all the loops on the yarn and on my project. There we go. And here's my last one. And then we'll repeat what we did. Pull all my loops up so I can find them. We'll take our yarn and we'll move back across. Pulling up the loops through the back. There we go. Almost lost a loop there, didn't we? Got to find all the loops. I love the fact that this project works up really quickly once you get the idea of how to do it. Super fun and super soft and super chunky. Super great project. All right, so now we're to our last loop on this side. And we want to bring our gray back in so that we can stripe our project. All right, so let's make sure we got our loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, we're going to change back to our gray. We've done the 2 rows of pink. And so we're going to leave our pink yarn attached and just set it aside. And we're going to put bring our gray yarn back in. Now we need to take out one loop, and we just use our scissors and break that yarn the way we did here and the way we started with the pink. And we need that to give us room to get our next loop up here. All right, so we took out one loop because we're changing colors. You only do this when you're changing colors. And then you begin right with that next loop and loop across, just like we've been doing. And that's how you will do the dog bed. You will do, this one has 3 rows, and then you'll do 2 pink, 2 gray, 2 pink, 2 gray, working all the way up. And when you change colors, you're going to need to take a loop out on each side. I've now switched over to working on the dog rug or mat that I'm working on. And this is so soft. This would make a wonderful nursery rug or a bathroom rug or any type of mat that you want really, really soft. I'm loving this yarn. But I wanted you to see on the side here where we carried those yarns. And it's important that you take that loop out, that extra one on each end, because you're going across 2 rows. Don't take it out on the other end, only the side where you're changing colors. And I'm really, really loving how this mat is turning out. So I've worked up through row 29. The first stripe down here, we have 3 rows, and then we did 2 rows of each color up through row 29. And I have finished with my gray, so I'm going to open up that last loop right there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off that yarn. And you can see I've used almost my whole ball of gray yarn. All right, so we're going to work that in just a minute. And now we need to finish our last row of pink because we want to have that 3rd row of pink, and then I'm going to show you how to tie off your work. All right, so we'll go right in that first loop. Let me move this so you can see. Just like we've been doing, pulling those loops through from the back. Back to the front. And this is our last row. And I think I've worked this rug up in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So it works up really quickly. All right, just working across this last row of pink. I do really love working with this yarn. It's a lot of fun. It is very soft. And the fact that it's washable is something that is very, very, very wonderful to me because of my dogs. I have small dogs. They love to sit on rugs and blankets, and they're going to love this new dog mat. But it's so beautiful. It would, like I said earlier, it would make a wonderful nursery rug or bathroom rug or laundry room rug, or just anywhere you want a nice little soft rug. All right, we're almost to the end here, which is wonderful because I'm just about out of yarn. All right, we got 3 more loops to do here. There we go. 1, 2, and where's that last loop? 3. All right, so how do we bind this off? But what we want to do is, this is the end we're going to end on. So we're going to begin back over on this side again. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this loop and loop it through. All right, now we'll take the next loop and loop it through. And what that's going to do is just cause a little braid to form on the top. See how that works? Here's the loop. We take the next loop and loop it through. We're making a chain. We'll do this all the way across. Make sure you grab every single loop because we do not want this to come out. The next loop, loop it through. The next loop, oops, get that open. Loop it through. The next loop, go in and loop it through all the way across the end of our mat. And see how it forms that nice pretty edge braid? Once we have looped all the loops together across the bottom, we have one loop left, and what we need to do is cut this yarn after the next loop and open up this loop, and then take this piece of yarn and go right in that loop just like that, and then we'll have to weave that in. So how do we weave in the ends on this super chunky yarn? And my solution is just to grab a crochet hook. This is a 9mm. This is the back, and I even think that the back of this is pretty. So what we'll do on the ends where we have a string to weave in is we'll go behind here just like this through some of those stitches and just pull that in. Okay, and then we'll go around a few more stitches so we can make sure that's going to stay put. Make sure you stay within the color that you're working, because if you whip this into this blue, it will show through and mess up your stripes on the front. And we'll need to do the same thing over here with this gray. We'll just pull it through just like that and weave it through a couple of those stitches, staying in the same color. So this is the dog mat that I made using the Loop It yarn. It's beautiful, it's thick, and it's washable. I hope that you learned how to use the Loop It yarn and that you'll have fun using it. Go grab you some. It's in lots of fun colorways, and I would love to see what you make with it.